Hare Krishna. So we are reading from the Bhagavad-Gita as it is. Second chapter, text number 40. Neha Bikramam Nasho Asti Pratyavaya Na Vidyate Svalpam Api Asya Dharmasya Trayate Mahato Bhayat Neha Vikrama Nashosti Pratyavayo na vidyate Salpamapyasya dharmasya Trayate mahato bhayat Neha Vikrama Nashosti Pratyavayo na vidyate Salpamapyasya dharmasya Trayate mahato bhayat Na Iha There is not in this yoga Abhikrama in endeavoring Nasha loss Asti there is Pratyavaya diminution Na never Vidyate there is Sualpam a little Api although Asya of this Dharmasya occupation Trayate releases Mahata from very great Bhayat danger. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Isya Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Translation. In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution. And a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. Purport. Activity in Krishna consciousness or acting for the benefit of Krishna without expectation of sense gratification is the highest transcendental quality of work. Even a small beginning of such activity finds no impediment, nor can that small beginning be lost at any stage. Any work begun on the material plane has to be completed. Otherwise, the whole attempt becomes a failure. But any work begun in Krishna consciousness has a permanent effect, even though not finished. The performer of such work is therefore not at a loss, even if his work in Krishna consciousness is incomplete. 1% done in Krishna consciousness bears permanent results, so that the next beginning is from the point of 2%. Whereas in material activity, without 100% success, there is no profit. Ajamil performed his duty in some percentage of Krishna consciousness, but the result he enjoyed at the end was 100% by the grace of the Lord. There is a nice verse in this connection in Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st canto, 5th chapter, text number 17. tyaktva sadharmam charanam bhujam harer bhajan apakva atapate tato yadi yatra kva vabadram abhut amusyakim kovato apto bhajatam sa dharmataha. If someone gives up his occupational duties and works in Krishna consciousness and then falls down on account of not completing his work, what loss is there on his part? And what can one gain if one performs his material activities perfectly? Or as the Christians say, what profit a man if he gains the whole world, yet suffers the loss of his eternal soul? Material activities and their results end with the body, but work in Krishna consciousness carries a person again to Krishna consciousness, even after the loss of the body. At least one is sure to have a chance in the next life of being born again as a human being, either in the family of a great cultured Brahmana or in a rich aristocratic family. That will give one a further chance for elevation. That is the unique quality of work done in Krishna consciousness. Om ajnanat midantasya gyanantana salakaya chakshuran militam yanam tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sabadantikam Bandeham Sri Guru Sri Yutapadagamalan Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sirupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijasaitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishagan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpade Gopesha Govika Ganta Radha Kanta Namastade Tatta Kanchana Gaudangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this is an important verse of the Bhagavad-Gita which Krishna is speaking. Of course, every verse in the Bhagavad-Gita is important. Every word which Krishna speaks is completely transcendental, perfect and complete. So at the same time, so some words, so they may be of some more importance. Of course, according to different devotees who have different opinions, so they may like some verses more than others. But in general, this one is accepted as an important verse. Because, first of all, he's explaining that in this process, in this endeavor of trying to become Krishna conscious, there's never any loss or diminution in this path. And Prabhupada is explained in the purport, if one has done 1% of Krishna consciousness in one lifetime, then in the next life he will continue from that point till he comes to 5% or then 10%, and next life he continues 20, 30, till he gains perfection. Of course, always provided that the sadhak, the devotee who is practicing, is always remaining very humble tolerant, and respectful. And provided he is constantly engaged in spiritual activities, especially chanting the holy names, the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, as we have heard, and Prabhupada, he gave many statements, different places, regarding of how to advance in spiritual life, and by simply following the process given, especially chanting 16 rounds a day and following the process and avoiding the sinful activities, then one will be assured of success. It is guaranteed. So even he mentions that one, after giving up the body, he will go back home to Godhead. So whatever the pure devotee is speaking, so that is the absolute truth. Because he is fully surrendered to Krishna, and Krishna is acting through him. Krishna is speaking through him. Just as whatever Krishna is speaking, that is completely transcendental, the absolute truth. Every verse, every sentence, every word. Similarly, the pure devotee, whatever he is saying, is completely transcendental, true. The absolute truth. As Krishna speaking, practically. So, he is the representative of Krishna. And is there to help us to advance and to properly understand Krishna. Because if one is not advanced in spiritual life, so we may read the Bhagavad-Gita, we may hear the Bhagavad-Gita on our own, or from persons who may not be well established on the transcendental platform, and then it may be difficult to fully understand and grasp the absolute truth. So therefore usually it is recommended, and Krishna also he explains, that we should hear from the pure devotee who has seen the truth, and then it will be easier to understand and to advance in spiritual life. So Prabhupada has explained, so if you're chanting the holy names regularly, then we may go back home to Godhead. But again there, someone has to be very sincere and actually become perfect in the chanting of the holy names. So Prabhupada has explained that we should chant without offenses. But if one is chanting with offenses, then he would not be able to attain perfection. 3 stages are there, as explained in the scriptures by the previous acharyas, or in Bhaktivinoda Thakur's famous Jaiva Dharma, Jivka Dharma, the actual religion of the living entity, which is service to Krishna. There he is explaining about 3 stages of chanting the holy names. Aparadhanam, Abhasnam, and Shuddhanam. So Aparadhanam means chanting the holy names, but at the same time not being able to be fully absorbed in hearing the holy names chanted, or the mind going here and there, being inattentive. And it is explained there are 10 offenses to be avoided, or not dealing properly with other devotees, being still engaged in sense gratification. So not only during the time of the chanting, but throughout the day. So because if one is not acting properly during the day, then the next day or even the evening, if he wants to chant more, he will not be able to chant the pure name. So Aparadhanam, so that has to be avoided. So one may be chanting 16 rounds every day for the whole life, even life after life. But if he is chanting with offenses, then he will not attain the desired success, which is Krishna Prem. So to speak of Krishna Prem, that is the goal, which is not so easily achieved. But even just being fixed on the transcendental platform and understanding practically that we are not this body, so that will not be achieved if one is chanting with offenses. Then one may have some understanding, yes, God is there, I'm the servant of God, I have to serve Krishna. But he will not be fixed. Then he will not feel transcendental, full transcendental happiness. And so then he will not be able at the time of death fully remember Krishna and enter the pastimes of Krishna. So which is the goal of life. So one has to become fixed on the transcendental platform. So different stages are there. So one is having faith first, Shraddha, and then in the Sadhu Sangha, in the association of the pure devotees, Bhajana Kriya, one can properly chant the holy names and perform devotional service, and then Anatta Nivriti, the different anattas which may be there, Asat Trishna, being having a thirst Trishna for what is asat, what is not permanent. So that has to be overcome. That is one kind of anatta. And there are 4 kinds of these asat Trishna. And then Hridaya Dorbalyam, the weakness of heart, which may also be divided in 4. Even though one may be trying sincerely to give up sense gratification and all unwanted things, but still, due to weakness of heart, is not able to do that. And then Sarup Brahma, so not being completely aware of the actual form of Krishna, not knowing the conclusions of the scriptures, Siddhanta. And so just like, for example, so we're trying to go to Golok Vrindavan, the spiritual realm. So for that, the highest spiritual realm. So, as we know, there are unlimited planets, Vaikuntha planets. And in each planet, in Vaikuntha, there is one Vishnu Murti, different names are there. Keshav, Madhusudan, Madhav, Govinda, and so on. The names of Vishnu forms, 400 Vishnu form. So living in each planet. So unlimited planets are there. But then the planet of Lord Ramchandra is there, Ayodhya Dham in the spiritual realm. And then even the highest planet in Vaikuntha, the most exalted place, that is Krishna Loka, Krishna's abode, which is divided in 4 parts. One is Dwarkapuri, so where Dwarkadish is residing, so the expanded form of Krishna. Also Krishna, simultaneously not different from Krishna and Braj, but different also. Bhav Prakash, the expanded form of Krishna. And then Mathurapuri, Mathura, Mathurish, again one form of Krishna there in Mathura, which is more exalted than Dwarkapuri. But then the highest rank, that is Golok Vrindavan, Braj Vrindavan, where Yashodanandan Gopinath is residing with his eternal associates. And then the 4th part, that is Shvetadvip Navadvip, where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is residing with his eternal associates. So that has to be clearly understood. And if you want to go to Golok, then we have to worship Yashodanandan Gopinath, following the moods of the Brijvasis and the Gopis, Srimati Radharani, Lalita Vishaka, Rupa Rati Manjari, in Madhurya Bhav, in the conjugal relation, or Madhya Yashoda, Nanda Baba in Vatsalya Bhav, parental affection, and Sudam, Sridam, Mangalam, Madhumangal, Vasudam, Kinkini, Stoka Krishna, the different friends of Krishna in Sakya Bhav, and then the servants, Raktak, Patrak, who are serving Krishna in Dasya Bhav, servitorship is there. In intimate relationship is there. So they are not knowing by Yogamaya, by the internal potency, that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But they feel Krishna is our beloved. Prananath is the Lord of our life. Very intimate relationship is there. So in order to go to Golok, we have to have this bhav. Otherwise one will not be able to go there. But one may go to Dwarka. But even that is not so easy to achieve. So not everything is one. In one sense, everything is one. The absolute truth is one, that is Krishna. But then there's so much variety. Krishna in Braj, Krishna in Dwarka, and the expanded form of Krishna, Vishnu in the different Vaikuntha planets. They're not different from Krishna, but different. The expansions of Krishna. So, it is not that by worshipping Vishnu you can go to Golok. No. If you want to go to Golok, you have to worship Krishna in Braj Bhav. So if one is not understanding this properly, so it is a kind of illusion is there. And about the nature of the spirit soul. So we have to be conversant with the Siddhanta, the absolute truth, the conclusions of the scriptures. And then with transcendental knowledge received from the spiritual master, then we should properly execute devotional service. And the different levels of devotional service are there. And first Vaidhi Bhakti, Sadhana Bhakti, Vaidhi Bhakti, and then Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti is there. If one is not knowing that, or how to properly perform devotional service, that is one kind of anatta, Sarup Brahman, not knowing the process of devotional service. And then the fourth kind is aparad, different kinds of aparad. Against the chanting of the holy names, Nama Parad, and against the holy Dham, Dhama Parad, or against the deities, the Acha Vigraha, Seva Parad, and even towards the, of course, Vaishnavas, Vaishnava Parad, or even Jiva Ahimsa, not treating other human beings or even the animals properly. So these anattas, they have to be overcome. So then only from the platform of Nishtha, then one is able to properly advance. And then further on, when one is fixed, then one will get a transcendental taste, ruchi, for chanting the holy names, serving. And then it is possible to become completely attached to Krishna, asakti. And then the material attachment, bhautika sakti, that is completely given up when one is firmly attached to Krishna. And on this platform, so one is practically understanding, not only theoretically, that one is not this body. So Gyan may be there, I am not this body, Krishna is God, I have a relationship, but that is not sufficient. We have to practically realize that we are not this body, that we are spirit soul, and our relationship with Krishna, eternal relationship in one of the five rasas, relationships. So only when this is realized, that is known as Sarup Siddhi, realization of the Sarup. So then the transcendental emotions will come. Nothing to do with the material consciousness. They will spring and they will come from the heart, from the soul proper. And then there is a proper loving exchange with Krishna, Bhavavasta, which is the sprouting of Prem, Prem Ankur, the sprouting of love of Godhead, Bhavavasta. So, and then we may come to the platform of Prem when one is entering the pastimes of Krishna. So that we have to understand. So it is not that by simply a little bit chanting the holy names and that one will be able to attain perfection. So that has to be understood. But as explained here, there is no loss, even if one is doing a little bit, doing only 2%. In the next life he will be able to continue, as said, provided he remains humble and tolerant and respectful. That is absolutely necessary, to remain in a humble position and respectful. Of course, like Arjuna, so he was a warrior, so he could not remain humble. So still the humility was there, actually, because we should understand what is actually humility. It is not just going in front of the deities, pranam, and in front of the Vaishnavas, Prabhuji, I offer my pranam. That is all right. But then we have to realize actually our true nature. In the beginning, the newcomer may be there and very humbly, but he has no realization. He knows nothing, therefore he is humble. But we have seen also sometimes a little knowledge is gained, a little position is achieved, he comes to a position, even in the society, and then the humility is vanishing. And he's thinking, I am this, I am that, I am Pujari, I am the president, I am this or that. But the real humility, that is actually realizing one's Swarup, our spiritual existence. That is Pakva Dainatva, as explained by Sanatana Goswami Pad in Brihad Bhagavad-Amrita. So then it is possible to advance. So that has to be always remembered, that we remain humble. So then we can advance. So sometimes, as we have heard devotees, they will say, oh yes, you just chant 16 rounds and you go back home to Godhead. It is true from one point of view. You will go back to Godhead eventually if you remain humble and respectful. But at the same time, you have to chant Shuddhanam. You have to cross the Aparadhanam and even Abhasnam, the reflection of the pure Nam. What is pure Nam? That is when one is chanting the holy names in purified consciousness and actually seeing Krishna. And Krishna is dancing on the tongue or in the ears, seeing Krishna in the heart, everywhere. And not only seeing Krishna, but seeing Krishna's pastimes with his devotees. That is Shuddhanam. So before that, of course, Abhasnam, one is endeavoring because one has served the deities, one has heard about Krishna sufficiently, then one can remember something with one's consciousness. And we may endeavor, but always concentrating on trying to chant nicely and hearing and praying to Guru Gauranga Krishna, that we may see Krishna while chanting, something at least, sometimes. And some of his pastimes with his devotees at the different places in Braj or Mahaprabhu also. Because actually when we chant Krishna Nam, first we have to see Guru, Sri Guru. Because without the spiritual master we can never enter into Gaur-lila and Krishna-lila. And we have to remember the holy Dham. Without Dham Seva, no Nam Seva. If you don't remember the holy Dham while chanting, then you cannot remember Krishna. Because Krishna is in Braj always. So Mahaprabhu in Chaitadip, Navadvip. So therefore the process of deity worship is very important, because there you worship Guru. And then Gauranga and Krishna. And then you remember the holy Dham, Navadvip Dham, or Vrindavan Dham, and then you worship Krishna. And then you serve the deity. And then something is there in the consciousness by doing that every day. And then you hear about the pastimes. And when you do every day, then while chanting, so Krishna Nam, first Nam, we chant Krishna Nam. Then the Roop will be there, sometimes revealed. And then the Gun, the transcendental qualities of Krishna can be seen. And then the Lila, the pastimes. So when we chant without offenses, then the clearing stage, it will be more clear, the consciousness, and then we may see sometimes a little bit something about Krishna and Krishna's pastimes, or Mahaprabhu and his pastimes. And two kinds of pastimes, the Nitya Lila in the spiritual realm, which ultimately have to be meditated upon, but then also the Naimittika Lila, the pastimes of the Lord in this world. He's appearing, he's taking birth, and then his childhood pastimes, and then And Krishna, Mathura Gaman, going to Mathura and then going to Dwarka and so on. Or Mahaprabhu, entering the sannyas ashram, going to Puri, South India, preaching. So these pastimes have to be remembered. And that will be there while we're chanting properly. And by praying. But then on the platform of Shuddhanam, because of the pure consciousness, then Krishna will reveal himself. The pure devotee doesn't even have to endeavor to think about Krishna. But because of his love, Krishna will manifest. Spurti. And then he can see the pastimes, one after the another. So that is this pure stage. And then attaining that stage, one will enter the pastimes of Krishna. Vastu Siddhi. When one is actually able to serve Krishna. In one of the universes where Krishna is performing his pastimes, then one is automatically in the Nitya Lila also. So that we have to understand very clearly. So it is a gradual process, and we have to try our best in this lifetime to make as much advancement as possible. And we try, of course, to attain perfection. That is the goal. And we hope and we pray that we can achieve. But it may also take more than one lifetime. But there is no loss. As explained here in this verse, even a little advancement can protect one from the greatest type of fear. Fear of death. In the material world, practically everyone is afraid of death. But the devotee is not afraid because he knows. He has realized he is not this body, and he knows that I will enter Krishna's pastimes, or if not, I will take birth in a family, aristocratic family or family of Vaishnavas, and then I will be able to continue. There's no worry for the devotee. Just like night time, we go to take rest, we sleep. Next day we get up. We know we will get up. And usually if one is healthy, and according to, of course, horoscope, it is there, how many years we are able to live. But usually we know, if we are healthy and we are not too old, that I take rest at night time, and during the night time, so we may not remember everything, but then we wake up in the morning and we continue where we left off. So we have some duties, and we know we have to do this and that. Same thing in Krishna consciousness. If you are not perfect, you give up this body and you get a new body, and then you can progress more. Of course, sometimes the sentiment is there, the devotee is giving up the body, he went back home to Godhead. So we may say like that also. No harm, and eventually he will go. He's going closer back to Godhead. So some, they may say that just like on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, we are talking about Krishna here, speaking to Arjuna on the battlefield, just before the battle between the Kauravas and the Pandavas. And we know that the majority, so many millions of people were killed. Some were saying, yes, they're all liberated. Yes, Prabhupada may also have said, they're liberated. But we have to understand what is liberation. Even one time you chant, Hare Krishna, you're liberated. One time you see Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, you're liberated. This is true. But if you do all kinds of nonsense, after one time chanting Hare Krishna, after giving up the body, or even seeing Jagannath, many people, they go to Puri for Ratha Yatra, and they say Jai Jagannath maybe 10 times, and they pull the chariot, and Krishna is noticing. Everyone is Bhagavan, and he wants everyone to go to the spiritual realm. But at the same time, if somebody is then afterwards pulling the cart, the chariot, and then he's going home, and we know in Orissa, then they eat machli, jal prasad from the ocean, the prasad of the ocean, fish, or other things, even they smoke sometimes. But then even nowadays also, watching Hollywood, Bollywood, WhatsApp, Facebook, this and that, and just one time saying Jagannath, you will not go back home to Godhead. Similarly, on the battlefield, They were seeing Krishna. But how they were seeing? So the pure devotees are seeing with devotion. But not all of them were pure devotees. Many were materialistic persons, drinking, smoking, doing all kinds of nonsense, disturbing others. They were there fighting. And Krishna was there, so they were benefited. But it doesn't mean they all went back home to Godhead immediately after giving up the body. But because Krishna was there, they were benefited. And it is mentioned in one is, and it was Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetre. It was a religious place, Kurukshetra. It is a religious place. And because Krishna wanted that to happen, that battle, because so many had to be, there were too many sinful people, even kings, so they had to be killed. So they were fortunate to be there, and that Krishna was there, they got some benefit. They were seeing Krishna, but not with pure devotion. They had ill motives also, many of them. They were fighting against the devotees, the Pandavas. But they got benefit because they were there. And that was the beginning. That was Agyata Sukriti. They were not knowing. They were benefited by being there and being killed because Krishna was there, because it was a holy place, Dharma Kshetre. Because the fight was there for Dharma, religious fight, it was there, according to Krishna's desire. So they were benefited. And certainly then, in next life, they may be given another chance to advance more. So that we have to understand. So, but those who are, like, for example, of course, Bhishma Dev was there, is a devotee of the Lord, a pure devotee, but due to circumstances he was forced to fight against the Pandavas. And others were there, maybe on both sides. Some of them, they were righteous, but they had to be on that side of the Kauravas. And even on Krishna's side, so there were many righteous people. So they may have attained perfection, many of them. But it is said that if one is dying on the battlefield, if it is fought according to religious principles, with dharma, so then they will be elevated. If not to the spiritual kingdom, then at least to the heavenly planets. We actually have to try to see that we can come to the platform of pure devotional service. Anyabilashita shunyam jnana karma navritam anukulyana krishna nishilanam bhakti uttam bhakti. When one is engaged in anukul bhav, favorable in devotional service according to Krishna's desire, anushilanam, as Krishna wants, not as we want. So for that purpose we have to again act under the instruction of the spiritual master, who will guide us, who will tell us what Krishna wants. And then we may advance more and more, so that we may come to the highest stage of pure devotional service. So it is a gradual process. And we have to, just like you go to school. If one is going to school, it is expected that he will finish. He will finish in due course of time, but it will take time. And the student, he has to study. If he's not studying, if he's just thinking, I will just play, he will not pass the exams, unless he's a genius. So due to previous impressions, but basically one has to study when one is in the school, then one will pass the exam when we go to the higher class. And then he will go to the secondary school, and then high school, college, university, and then he can get a degree. But hard work is there, required. Similarly, devotional service, so we have to endeavor very hard, and we have to pray for the mercy. But even our endeavor only, that is not sufficient. But we need the mercy of the Lord, and the mercy of the spiritual master. And then it is possible to achieve perfection, and then enter the pastimes of Krishna. So which is ultimately the goal. So we have to try our best to make as much advancement as possible to become perfect. So in pure devotional service. So we have to, from time to time, we have to try to, so we should see where are we, on which platform. And if we cannot figure out ourselves by reading the scriptures and by performing proper bhajan, then we may ask the advanced devotees, and they may tell us where we are and how we have to advance, so that we can come to the highest stage of pure devotional service. And then of course usually so the previous impressions are there, by which we are able to advance nicely, and then we have to endeavor and always be in the association of the devotees who are more advanced, and sincerely try our best to advance more and more. And then, as Mahaprabhu said, that we should try to help others. Bharat bhumite haila manusya janma jara janma shataka kari karaparo upakar. So we become perfect in our spiritual life as much as possible, and then we try to help others. Sarva bhute hite rataha. So the devotee is not just acting for his own benefit, for Krishna's benefit ultimately, and then we will be benefit, but we should try to help others. So that should be always there, and by giving good instructions, by helping in even in ordinary things, or distributing prasadam, so that others, they may also benefit, and then we'll be helped also more and more. So Vaishnav, so is actually a Brahmana. That means he's studying the scriptures, and then he will try to tell that to others, how to advance in spiritual life. He's worshipping the deities, and he's trying to tell others how to worship. So we should, and that is actually required to come to the platform of a Brahmana, platform of goodness, when one is peaceful, controlling the mind and the senses, and tolerant, respectful, always trying to be engaged in spiritual activities, and trying to help others. So in this way, Krishna will be pleased, and then we'll be able to be firmly situated on the transcendental platform, and then we can properly help others also. But whatever the situation may be, even if you are not attaining perfection, there's never any loss in this path. And so one can be without fears actually. Of course, in the material world, so some difficulties are always to be expected, some awkward situation, and then even some fear may be there even. So that may be there, but we should always have Krishna in the center. And then everything becomes transcendental. So as we know, the different transcendental emotions are there. It is not that on the higher stage there are no emotions, there's no fear, no. There's transcendental fear, even the gopis. They become afraid that they may be separated from Krishna. They become fearful, they don't want to be separated one moment from Krishna. And they're never separated actually, but then the different emotions are there. And sometimes transcendental sadness may be there, transcendental bewilderment, transcendental anger may be there. But Krishna is there in the center, and all the emotions are there directed towards Krishna for Krishna's pleasure. So that on the pure stage, so then all the emotions are pure on the transcendental platform. But even on the conditioned platform, for the endeavoring transcendentalist, the sadhaka, whatever emotions are there may be there, so we simply have to put Krishna in the center. By trying to remember Krishna, do everything for Krishna's pleasure, and especially chanting the holy names always, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Then all the emotions which may be there, even maybe their sadness, even on the material platform, for a sadhaka sometimes he may be sad and may not be transcendental, but by trying to serve Krishna, trying to remember, so the consciousness, the senses are become purified. So this by Krishna's mercy, especially by, of course, by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, who is not different from Sri Radha and Krishna. So in the Kali Yuga, although it is very difficult to advance in spiritual life, but by Mahaprabhu's mercy, it has become somewhat easy. Simply by chanting the holy names, and there are not even so many hard and fast rules for chanting the holy names. We may chant any time, under any circumstances. And then simply we have to do a little seva and study the scriptures, worship the deities, and then we can, by the mercy of Guru Angaranga, we can rapidly advance in spiritual life. And there's every chance that we may be able to attain perfection in this lifetime. So we try our best to attain perfection, and we hope for Krishna's mercy, who does the rest. We try our best and Krishna does the rest. Hare Krishna. Any question? Everything very clear? No problem, right, very good. Yeah, I covered everything, yes. Srila Prabhupada ki, by Prabhupada's mercy. So have a little Mahaprasad for everybody. Hare Krishna.